right as we started recording. You're serious now.
I did. You know what? You know what? I know whether I'm serious now or I just want to have that dramatic that moment where I just look at the cat. By the way, welcome to Positively Board Gaming, everyone. He is fantastic, and that is Jamey Stegmaier. Wait, hold on, go this way. Like I haven't been on camera my whole life. This is Jamey over here. Jamey Stegmaier. See, you did the same thing. You pointed the other way because you're used to doing it. You have to do the whole mirror thing. And we are Positively Board Gaming, where we talk about everything board games related, the people that are in the industry, the people that love the industry, and just a source of joy and business for Jamey, and a source of joy for both of us. So, like you said, we're having some off the air banter, and I said to Jamey, let's talk about this on air. And if you watch Jamey's video, was it 2 days ago on Wednesday where you talked about it?
As of our recording, yeah. Who knows?
As of our recording,
future, but
correct.
Mid-November.
And I'm very proud of you, Jamey, taking a long drive, because Jamey had a family trip planned to go back to Virginia.
Yeah.
Where Jamey's from, and instead of waiting to hear that his flight was canceled, he took the bull by the horns. He controlled the narrative and the message, and he decided to just drive. You and Megan drove that entire way back and forth.
Which we've done before. I've done it many times with or without a car that can kind of drive for me on the highway, which is very nice for a long road trip. But this was unexpected. This was the Friday that the FAA announced they were going to start to cancel a bunch of flights because of the government shutdown, which since then has ended. And I think it's still probably impacting some travelers. But at the time, like, we knew the shutdown was affecting it, but that it was that day that they were officially going to start canceling 4% of flights.
Wow.
We were just like, yeah, like you said, control the narrative. Who knows what will happen when we show up at the airport, or when we get to the first layover, or when we're coming back. Let's just know what we're getting into and go for the drive. And for the most part, I think flying is safer. And there were moments on the road where I was a little worried about deer, because there are a lot of deer on this stretch from St. Louis to Richmond and back. But we got there safely. We were fine. And I think most people were able to make that drive safely. We were fine.
And by the way, when you were talking about the deer on the road, for anyone that, growing up in the Northeast and traveling back and forth between New York and Pennsylvania, my dad had a little, like a cabin house, a small house in Pennsylvania that we used to travel to in the Poconos. It's about between an hour and 45 and 2 hours from the city to the Poconos when we would drive up for the weekend. And there, along that route, and a lot of rural routes, especially if there's farmland, especially if there are animals, a dense population of any kind of animal. In the case of the Northeast, you have a lot of deer, just the same as Midwest and South, some of the South. But bear and deer were a huge issue, especially at night, when they're not runners going around with reflective material and reflective shoes. They are animals with dark fur, and you cannot see them until they turn their head and you see like the reflection in their eyes. It's very hard to see them until you're right on top of them, and it's very sad. It's very dangerous for them. Of course, we're invading their area, so they're walking around like nothing's wrong. And if you get hit by obviously it's terrible to injure or kill an animal, but when you're talking about animals of that size and density, the mass of those animals, like, you can bounce off of a bear. A car can bounce off of a bear, and the bear just shrugs it off and walks. So it can damage, it can hurt the driver, the car, the animal, of course, which is the biggest concern, as well as the driver. So it is a genuine issue. And when you talk, I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of people don't really who worries about deer and bear when they're driving. I was like, well, when you take that route, and if you know the route, at least you know where to be careful, especially on turns, on curves where you can't see what's coming out ahead. You don't have to. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And I personally related to that on a deep level, believe me.
And this was compounded, at least on this drive, because I saw probably half a dozen dead deer, incredibly sadly for them, and whatever the incident was that brought them to that, all along that drive. So it was on my mind. I was on high alert the entire drive. And I think maybe it's especially this time of year. It's probably any time of year, but is fall maybe a higher, like autumn, fall? Is that? I would think
that's a good question, because I don't know if like mating season or also moving to where the food and the moisture is. So I don't exactly know the dynamics of how that's affected for the animals, but I'm sure there is a time of, like you said, a time of year. And by the way, you drive a Tesla, right? Tesla does have radar and the radar imaging. So the Tesla does know further in advance than the average car knows when something is there and can slow down for you. But as I said, if you're on a road with any kind of either slow grade curve or a sharp turn, and the radar's looking dead ahead, it can only see what it can see. So at least you have the advantage of being in a modern vehicle, ultra modern when it comes to Tesla, that can mitigate some of that danger. But still, There's no substitute for being hyper aware, but also that can be exhausting as a driver. That tension and that worry is also draining as you're driving. So I'm glad you were safe. I'm glad you made it. How was the time though? How was your trip?
We had a wonderful trip, and that's going to be part of my main topic
Okay.
today. But
All
the
right.
purpose of the trip was to see my mom, who lives not far from where I originally grew up. She and my dad have a house that they put together. They were intending to spend many long years together. And unfortunately, my dad did die from cancer a couple of years ago, but she still lives in this house that she and my dad built. And my brother and sister both live around 10 minutes away with their families.
That's
There's
great.
7 nieces and nephews among them for me. So it's and it was nice. Usually when I go in for the holidays, at least one of them are for Thanksgiving or Christmas, they are going to their significant other's parents' houses. So I
Okay.
missed out on one of them. So this time, like all of them were together. It was my brother's 40th birthday, which is wonderful.
Oh, that's awesome. Happy birthday to him.
Yeah. And one little treat that I have for you, as you know that that this is coming a little bit, but we went to my favorite ice cream place in the world, a place called Gelati Select.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Amazing ice cream. And it's right next to a Trader Joe's. So this is why last week, Mitchell and I were talking about Trader Joe's. And Mitchell, I wanted to show you 3 things that we got that I'm really excited about. One is a thing that you recommended, the PB&C. Now, you recommended a different one. You wanted the PB&J, but I couldn't resist the chocolate.
I knew you would like the chocolate-filled stick. So that little filo, like crispy filo dough on top.
I couldn't resist. This is a crispy cocoa cream-filled wafer sticks with peanut butter dip. And like Mitchell has told me several times, it's like a little snack pack. So you're not going to eat too much, you eat just the right amount. That's one of them.
Yeah.
Have you seen these? These are peanut butter crispy rice bites.
What the heck, Jamie? How can you be showing me a new treat that I didn't know about? No, I have not had those.
They're kind of like Rice Krispie treats, but more dense because there's peanut butter in there. So and they're individually wrapped, and so it's another single serving.
You're already digging in. Jamie, you should join me because I'm actually. You have to tell me if I have something in my teeth. I'm just now that we've done this show, I'm not as careful anymore. I'm like, you know what? People know us. If they like us, they like us. I have my peanut butter M&Ms. If I have something in my tooth, Jamie, just go like. So that's awesome. I thought you were going to grab one and eat one. I got so excited. What's the third one?
The third one is, and this might be my favorite that I've had so far. These are, let's see, what does it say on there? Pumpkin sandwich cookies. So it's like 2 cookies with a covering, a yogurt flavored covering with sea salt, and then there's a cream in the middle. Just one of them is like the right size. It's like kind of getting 2 cookies in one with a really thick layer of cream. If you like pumpkin flavoring, these are really good. Like one of these after lunch is the perfect dessert I found.
And you've noticed if you're watching, and if you're watching us on whether you're watching us on the Stonemaier Games YouTube channel, on the YouTubes, or listening in podcast form, Jamie's actually holding up the box. And in true Stegmaier fashion, these boxes were not sealed. I think the the peanut butter and chocolate might have been sealed.
Yeah, these are open.
But the other ones were definitely open. And I love that, he's like, I couldn't resist going back because, we're very honest about our love for the chocolatey, delicious things that we like. And no, of course, I applaud you. Like I said, I'm actually going to be consuming these during the show, not while you're talking, though, only when I'm talking. So it'll just sound like, I want people to enjoy and have a definite visceral response to our food consumption. Jamie, I'm so happy. That was going to be my treat of the day, that I actually turned you on to some Trader Joe's treats. So that was going to be my treat of the day, that you got to share some of the things that I love. And by the way, I think that if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if you talk, the people that work there are super helpful, and everyone will go. If you ask anyone that works there, they all know, because this is an interesting fact, because my nephew works at a store, at the Trader Joe's store down in Torrance. Everyone is trained in every area of the store. In fact, during a day's work, you shift let's say you're working the register for a few hours, you're doing stock in the back for a few hours, and you're doing like helpful on the floor for a few hours. So everyone does different things throughout the day. And it's really smart. Number one, your employees don't get burned out and as bored of what they're doing because they're always doing something different. But also because of this, they're all trained in different areas of the store and are all equipped to help you. Let me look in the back where I could find this. Let me see. Oh, I know exactly where that is. So it's really cool. I think my nephew told me a lot of the pumpkin items are seasonal. They're like, some things are Halloween, which I'm pretty sure that one is, but I will go see if they have any left, because usually they keep them in stock for a few weeks after. They'll sell off what they have. But that's one thing that kills me about Trader Joe's. I'll find a seasonal treat. I'll love it. And then I'm like, what do you mean it's seasonal? If you wait like 8 or 9 months, but of course I'll buy like 8 of them and maybe freeze them so we can enjoy them a little longer. But I will check. Those look delicious, Jamie. The pumpkin ones I've never seen.
Yeah.
I will.
I appreciate your
over those.
enthusiasm and your recommendations. And I did look for a couple things that you mentioned that I just couldn't find, like the berries that were covered in dark chocolate. I couldn't find those. The cheese I didn't think would make the drive
I was
all
going to
that
say those
well.
aren't. Yeah.
I'll get that back. But I love your enthusiasm for Trader Joe's, and I was excited to go and look through the aisles from your lens.
It made me happy. And a lot of the treats are hidden in the frozen food aisle. We're above the freezer. So it's very smart. You're like scoping out some of the frozen pizza, and they have a lot of really healthy frozen foods, not just the pizza. And a lot of their stuff's imported from Europe. All the pizza and the pasta are from Italy. So, I mean, it's crazy when there's an issue with the shipping from all over the world, like a lot of their pastas and pizzas and stuff never made it because it was coming over from Italy on a ship. So yeah, their stuff is really good. So if you have a Trader Joe's near you, give them a try, y'all. That's our little public service. You like they threw in the y'all for no reason. I don't know why I made this a Southern promo, but yeah, give Trader Joe's a try, y'all. That's all I got for you. Okay, so we've done our treat of the days, treats of the day.
Yeah.
I don't really have a before we start, but I did want to show you. Maybe this will be my before we start.
Yeah.
So thanks to Jamey sharing his
Dragon dice.
bag of fancy dice, I picked up a copy of Dragon Dice, which I think it's a pretty small operation. I think the designer is in charge of a lot of the stuff and sort of like a one-man band in terms of everything that goes on. So it's an incredible feat of what he's able to put together, all these different boxes, all these different dice combinations. And like I said, I don't know how many people he might have on his team, but I think I saw him at PAX Unplugged a couple of years ago showing everything. He was there showing everything himself. And so I'm going to go back this year now knowing that, having the base pack, which has 2 different factions in here. The only thing I'm missing, Jamey, is I have to find a really fancy bag because I love the bag that you have your Dragon Dice in. And did they come in that bag when you originally got it years ago?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to find this guy. I'm going to find a fancy bag and like a fancy play mat because I think it comes with paper mats in the box. And yeah, I'm very excited. The dice are beautiful and I'm very excited. I made a decision based on, you showing me those dice. That's all it takes. Shame on me. Fancy dice. I'm in. And I went on the website. I got it. The website was great. And yeah, so thank you for that. I'm looking forward to trying it.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it.
Do you have a before we start?
Not really.
It's okay.
Really. I mean, yeah, just thinking about the trip that I recently took. So my topic will be about that. So yeah, what's on your mind for your main topic today?
Hold on, Jamey. I'll tell you in a minute. The body wants what the body wants. Yeah, I'm really, honestly, I'm eating a peanut butter M&M, highly unprofessional, especially spending my life in front of a microphone and knowing better than to do this. People don't want to hear that. But I got to tell you, it's a real pick-me-up. It's giving me such joy. I might pass out. Okay, so for today, considering, like you said, we're recording this. We can give a date that we're recording this, right? What is this,
Yeah.
November 14th? Friday, November 14th.
Yeah.
This is 6 days before I actually leave for PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia. Very much looking forward to that. It's the only game, I think it's the only board game conference I've been to. I think. Maybe it makes smaller local, but I mean, in terms of like some of the bigger ones, I've never been to Gen Con. I obviously haven't been to Spiel and Essen. I'd love to go to these, but I haven't. So it's sort of like a nice thing. I get to go to Philadelphia. My brother takes a train in from New York. We hang out for a few days. It's really wonderful. So I thought I'd talk about the things we enjoy and look forward to at a video game. It's not a conference. I guess it would be what would you call it? A conference? What would you call it?
I'd probably call it a convention.
Convention. Yeah, what I'm saying. That's what I'm looking for. Again, it's, you know what? Don't blame me, Jamey. I would have had that word. It's a stupid M&Ms. They're throwing me off. It's their sugar high has me. So it's the only board game convention that I've been to. And I thought maybe we should talk a little bit about what are the things that we love about going to a board game convention. So this is going to be, interactive with you as well, because I'd love to hear. And let me start by saying, I already said that this is the only big one that I've really been to, or on the larger side. It's strange that not strange that I get joy from this. I'm not a big crowd person. I know Jamey shares this with me. I'll speak to my reasoning. If Jamey wants to share his, that's fine. If not, that's great too. For me, being in large crowds, number one, it can be a little overwhelming. It's hard to navigate with everything that we've learned about COVID, not even COVID, but anytime I've gone to a big event, you come home with something. I feel it's like going to a kindergarten class. What do you have? Oh, I have pink eye, I have iron lung, I have the gout. How'd you catch gout at a gaming convention? I don't know, but my feet are so that's one thing. The proximity, and it sort of can be unwieldy just being in large spaces. So for me, going to a sporting event, I go to hockey games, I do go to things that have a large amount of people, but a convention is not normally the kind of thing I would do just because of the amount of people and worry about getting sick and all this stuff you have to deal with. But when it comes to board games, I love them so much. I want to do it. If I'm going to do one, this is the one that I do. So the first thing that I look forward to, and again, there are many aspects of it. And this is something that is like pure joy, being surrounded by so many people that love the same thing that you do. Having a like-minded group of people that are all there for the same reason. I know it is incredibly obvious, and this is definitely low-hanging fruit, but it's true because you can consume games in different situations, different areas, different venues, but to have, again, if you look at it it's the way I sort of look at it now to make myself like, oh, the crowd isn't a big deal. Every one of these people, as crowded as it is, they're here because they're just as excited as you are, maybe more so, to see all the new games that are coming out, to be with like-minded people who have the same. And if there's a specific game you want, if you're an RPG player, if you're a miniatures player, if you're a war theme, they're all there. And there are tables there for you where you can meet new people that share your enthusiasm. You can play with people that you've never played before, learn different things. Is this something that one of the things, I know you don't go to many, but when you go, is that joy kind of palpable when you go there to these things?
Oh yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I would say that, I guess, really briefly, the 3 tiers of conventions that I've been to are: one, the Stonemaier Games Design Day, which is about 100 people.
Right.
It's focused on playtesting, and there the creative energy is really palpable. That's awesome. The next level up that I've been to is Geekway to the West, which is around 2,000 to 3,000 people.
Right.
It's almost purely based around casual playing of games. And there, the energy is around playing games with people who are just there to play games, which is awesome. And then I have been to Gen Con as well, where the energy is a little bit more about seeing what's new and like trying new things and getting buying new games. So it's a lot more about buying the games there. But even that is exciting, that people are trying things that they maybe just saw, they don't know anything about it. They just discovered it and they're excited about it. And seeing people like, there's a lot of like, you'll cross paths with someone that you don't know at all, and they'll point at the thing that you're carrying that you just bought, and they'll be like, "That's awesome! You're gonna have a great time with that." And that feels good. Like that, like affirms your purchases immediately. I can see why people spend a lot of money at Gen Con because of that.
Oh yeah, I totally get that, and that was going to be another thing I was going to mention. Just going to see all these new games, seeing all the games. Listen. And it's like that NBC came up with this thing when they were running. There was no, it must have been during one of the actor strikes or during summertime where there were no original shows. And like, if you haven't seen these episodes, they're new to you, which is very true. They were running reruns all the time, but if you haven't seen them, reruns be damned, they're new to you. So, and that's what I was going to say about games also. It's not just the new games that are coming out, the new hotness that you want to see for the first time or that are close to coming out, that are still in their final stages of being prepped to ship, but games that have been out for a while. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years that still are viable and have a presence that you've never played and never seen because there's so many board games out there. So that excitement is another reason that I love it. And I pass by these tables, Jamie, and I think I'm in a consistently euphoric state while I'm there. I must look like there's something wrong with me because my eyes are wide open. I'm smiling. I must look like heavily medicated or like there's something a little wrong with me because I just can't get the smile off my face. I love seeing new things. Do you find that when you go, do you discover more new games, or are you surprised at this point doing this as long as you've been doing it, both as a gamer and as a designer and publisher? Are you surprised when you see a game that's been out for a bit that you've never seen before and are excited to learn about that?
I don't know if that is pretty rare at this point.
Because you're pretty dialed in.
I would say I'm fairly dialed in, but there are so many games. I would say I'm more surprised when I end up playing that older game, and I'm surprised by how good it is. And I really shouldn't be surprised by that at this point because there are so many great games for different people. But that happens every year at Geekway, where there are a few games that I'm really excited about trying. I play those. Some of them are hits. Some of them, I'm okay with. And then there are a few that are just not on my radar at all. And someone says, I've been playing this game for a few years. I love it. I want to try it. And it ends up being one of my favorite games of the convention. That happens every year, Geekway, a game that was off my radar despite having known that it existed. But I just
Right.
didn't know how much it would personally resonate with me.
And, this sort of goes into, well, the fact that you're talking about this plays into the last thing I'm going to mention. And there are so many different things I could go into, but this is one that was special to me. So again, I'm very fortunate. I have a friend who's a pretty decent game designer. He's okay. He does some nice things, does some pretty games. So I have access in my life to someone that does this for a living and does it incredibly well. And we can have discussions about it. But for a lot of people, and even for me, for people, designers that I love that I don't know, that are not Jamey, they're not my friend. When you go to these conventions, and you pass a table, you are likely to see the designers there themselves.
Yeah.
And you're likely to pass somebody by and they'll say, "Hey, would you like to try this?" And immediately you turn, and I don't care what the game is, I don't care what the theme is. I get so excited that someone that has put this much work into something wants to share this experience with you, and you get to share it with the person who created it.
Yeah.
That's really kind of special. It's also really good for getting questions answered because they tend to know the rule book pretty well. So, although you'd be surprised, listen, it's like it isn't always a given that when you design a game, you're always the best at explaining it. I'm not saying that everyone is, wonderful, everyone's, but it's just like there are different skill sets, right? But it's so wonderful to have to take the time, first of all, that the designers take the time to be there and to say, okay, I'm going to show you this game. So whenever we pass a table and somebody asks, hey, do you want to try this? I'm like, yeah, I do want to try it. And I can't tell you how many so many more great experiences rather than it was okay, but it wasn't for me. It's always more positive than not for me. And I learned a new game. I know a new game type that I like now that I never knew before. Whether it's, we talked about collectible card games and, I think it was Star Wars Unlimited that we talked about that I did a couple of years ago. So yeah, there's something super special about being able to talk to the people that know the game the best and have them want to share it with you and taking that time and sitting down and like, oh, I played with the designer of so-and-so. You met them? So it was really neat. I think, who did we play with? One of the designers of Earthborn Rangers, which admittedly is more complex than I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a little less complex. It was more complex than I thought it would be. But because we had the designer there saying, okay, I know this scenes, but if you think about this game, and I forgot what game she told me about, that's sort of like, oh, if you think about it in these terms, using this sort of rule set for this, and it felt a lot more like an RPG than it did as, is it considered a deck builder, I guess? It's a card
to it.
It's like, it's a card driven game with deck construction, but it felt a lot more like an RPG. And when I wrapped my brain around that, everything started clicking for me. But thanks to her being there, I got to experience the game in a different way than I would have, where in some cases, this is tougher than I thought. I'm like, maybe I won't. But I took the time to get to understand it, and I had an amazing time. And I ended up getting more stuff for the game while I was there. It was great. So I don't know, Jamey, what do you, are there some things that you look forward to more than others? Or is there anything that stands out to you when you go, or a moment or a type of experience that you cherish when you go to these things?
I mean, yeah, that's a good question. I think the thing that I look forward to the most at Geekway in particular is playing. And I usually put out a message out there to people who are attending Geekway, and I say, here's some games I'm interested in trying for the first time. If you love this game, I would love to play it with you, because one of my favorite things is playing a game that someone else loves and they have enthusiasm for it.
Right.
And me getting to experience their joy and also learning a new game myself. So hopefully there's somewhat of a mutually beneficial, like they get someone who is excited to play the game they love, and I'm excited because they love the game. So I love that. And that happens. I guess I'm fortunate to be in a position where I can put those games out there, and there are people who already know them and love them and are willing to teach me. But I love that part of Geekway. I really, really do.
I love that. That sounds great. And again, Geekway is just a slightly small, like a microcosm of the much bigger conventions than that. I mean, the vibe, the experience. I think when it's slightly smaller, you get that more hands-on feel when you go to them. It doesn't feel as imposing and less, maybe slightly impersonal, just because there's so many people.
Yeah.
But once you start talking to people, the experience is just the same, just in a larger venue. That connection is the same, just in a larger scale building, with multiple floors and rooms and all, but I'm so excited. So that is coming up on Thursday, the 20th. I guess we're traveling. And then The convention, PAX Unplugged, is the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. I think it's only going to be raining for one of the convention days, which is great. Last year I was spoiled. I had a hotel that connected directly to the convention hall, so I could basically show up in my pajamas, which people love, by the way. I will say, people love when you show up in your jammies. No, so you didn't have to put on a jacket, with the cold Northeast weather. It was great. I could just stroll right in. But this time we're going to be staying a couple blocks away. So like an animal, I got to put on clothes. So there you go. That was my topic of the day. Jamey Stegmeyer, it's your turn.
I spent this last weekend in Virginia, and I went to one of the things that's become my favorite things to do back home is I go to the Unplugged Game Cafe in Midlothian, Virginia. And I went there this time with my entire family. So there were 10 of us at a big table. There's my mom, my brother, sister. My brother didn't bring his kids because his kids are a little younger, but he brought his wife, and we had 3 little kids with us. And so my topic kind of today is the types of games that I think can work well with kids, which is something that I don't normally encounter in my daily life. But these are nieces and nephews ranging from, at least at that table, ranging from 6 years old all the way up to, I think, around 12. And then some adults that have varying experiences with playing games. So I wanted to share maybe.
See?
There we go.
You know what? We're going to put your microphone in the box of no touchy touchy. Now I can't hear you again.
You can hear me again?
I can hear you again. There we go.
If I touch my mic at all, which I do way too often.
It's okay.
Find a way to get the Anyway, I'm playing games with kids.
Right.
One quick anecdote is I played Patchwork with my nephew, whose Patchwork is his favorite game. He plays it a lot,
and he's really good at it too, right? Yeah, he's really good.
And he's like 6 or 7 years old, but he's very good at Patchwork. And I not that the point is to win at Patchwork, but he is a legitimate competition when you play at Patchwork. And I happen to win this game against him. But I think that's a pretty good game for kids because there's not a lot of rules to Patchwork. Have you played Patchwork?
I have not, but when I watched your video and I saw some of the pictures, I was like, uh-oh. You're looking up online, looking at Patchwork, and some of the comments, I think, from the video as well. People love that game as well. So I have to check that out.
That was a good one. That's just a 2-player game, but it was good for that player count. So we walked into this game cafe and I was like, what games can I get that will actually scale up to 10 people potentially? When we walked in, my brother and his wife weren't there. So we needed an 8-person game. And I chose 2 that I thought worked pretty well. We played a game called that. And one of the things that we often do in these circumstances is that we might pair up. Like if someone isn't in the full mood to learn a new game, they might pair up with somebody else.
That's fair.
One of the other ones.
Yeah.
So we played the game That's Not a Hat. Have you played That's Not a Hat?
I have not, but I saw that you had a large group and it played. How did it play? So how does that game work?
It's a very odd game to describe, but it's a memory game essentially where I will draw a card and I will show everyone the picture. We'll all very clearly see that this is a pizza. It's a drawing of a pizza. We all know that. We all see that. I put the card down and then I have to gift my other card that may or may not be face up at that time, but I have to gift it to someone else and it ends up face up. And all I do, like if you're to my right and I pass it to you, I would say, hey, Mitchell, this is a soccer ball. And you have to remember if that actually is a soccer ball. And you might remember it. And if you believe that it's a soccer ball, then you accept it. If you don't think it is, then you say, I don't think that's a soccer ball. And we flip it over, we reveal it. But it is surprisingly easy to forget what these cards are. Like because there's just a lot to pay attention to. And even though we all very clearly saw that pizza card,
right?
Because we're trying to remember all these other cards that are being passed around. And was that the card? Was that not a card? We rather rapidly forget that was actually a pizza.
That sounds awesome.
One of these wacky magic tricks of the game.
Yeah.
So that was a fun one. We played Bohnanza, which is a trading game, which worked pretty well at this group. I thought they caught on pretty well. The one I wanted to end with was one that I know we have a shared affection for, given the custom dice, and that is Sushi Roll.
Oh yeah,
Sushi Roll. These beautiful custom dice, and that one I'm always pleasantly delighted by how much fun it is to play and how easy it is to teach, especially for a group like this with little kids. I think one of the key things that I've learned is that there's the less hidden information, the better. I think for teaching in general, but especially when you have people at different experience levels and different ages. And that's the case in Sushi Roll. Like everything out there. All the information is out there. You get to roll these big chunky dice again a lot, but everyone gets to see the chunky dice.
Yep.
So yeah, I know I've been talking a lot, but I wanted to see if you had
go
any
ahead.
thoughts on games when you have played games with a younger audience, or if you've done that any time recently.
Yeah.
Or someone with less experience. Have you had a recent go-to game that you thought worked well for that?
The games that seem to play the best with younger people, and we haven't played with people much younger than maybe like 12 recently, 10 or 12,
Yeah.
but younger in general to me means a visual element. The visual component, I think, helps. You talked about like the easily explainable rules. I think having something that's incredibly visual helps with that. And I think Sushi Roll is such a good choice because, yes, it's incredibly visual, but there's also an order to the way things go that's pretty, and it tells you. I mean, the game tells you sort of like, if you have this, it goes with this, or you can stack this with this. If you have the wasabi, that's got to go here. So I think the fact that the rule set is fairly simple and it's incredibly visual and really cute. It's really pretty on the table. I think that it's more likely to hold the attention rather than just these rules that live in your head. And then you have to apply that and remember those rules. And there's no visual connection to remind you. So we tend to look for things that have a visual element. I would almost think that Spots would be a great game for a younger audience as well. Just because, again, you have that visual element. It's super cute. The cards sort of tell you what they need. Rule set is fairly simple. I'm really intrigued by this is not a hat because it sounds like Concentration meets Sheriff of Nottingham. It's like a real, I mean, in my head, I'm sort of like combining those two games a little bit, even though it's like it has elements of each of those. But yeah, I'd love to play that, especially with the bigger group. So yeah, that would be my common theme for like, if you're trying to, and also, again, this is incredibly subjective because I know some kids that are 6, 7, 8 that could outthink a 30 or 40-year-old. I mean, it depends on the level and the ability to sort of focus, the ability to focus on a game. And I think that'll be sort of your barometer for, okay, do we go with something more visual or can we amp it up a little bit and have something? I'm surprised you didn't break out Kingdom Death Monster because I hear that's it. And by who anyone's listening to me, that's a complete joke. That is not a game for children. I know people that are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that get incredibly squeamish and upset by that game. Although it's a wonderfully designed game. It's like, could you imagine like, listen, kids, here's the story. Like, I'm like, no, you're looking at the miniatures. What is that? But yeah, that'll be a horrifying reality. But no, I think you chose really, really well. Now it makes me think I'm sort of going to look through, well, at least this area of games and sort of see if there's, have you played Things and Rings?
Yes. Yeah.
What would you think about that for a younger audience? Is it too thinky or no?
I think that does work. And I think one of the clever tricks about that game is that you don't have to use all the rings. I think you can, I think you could even use just one ring.
Oh, okay.
Play like a few minutes with one ring. Is it inside or outside of the ring? It's an association game for those who don't know what this is.
Right.
But once you start to add the other rings, there's multiple associations. Again, a little bit, a little more complex there. But I think kids, especially in school, they're using a lot of those association techniques.
Yes.
And so they would catch on quickly.
And I know in like a lot of when they're in teaching math, a lot of those same visuals are used in terms of geometry and like early teaching of geometry and things like that. So yeah. But yeah, I would go with stuff that has a strong visual element. And as Jamey said, a simpler rule set where, your younger players are not so bogged down like, oh man, I don't really understand or have to think about this. If it's right out there, and also everyone knowing the rules makes it much easier because everyone can sort of help. Everyone can sort of help at the table. But I loved when I saw Sushi Roll in your video, like showing you're talking about the games. I was like, oh yeah, Jamey brought out Sushi Roll. I love that.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Hold on, I'm really surprised. I still have 2 M&Ms in here. I didn't like how the M&Ms slowed me down while I was talking, and I didn't want to be rude and eat over you. It's like, I'm like, yeah, Jamey, go ahead. Like, blah, blah, blah. And okay, is it my turn yet? No, I don't do that. I actually like listening to you. But hold on. Oh my gosh. What is it about peanut butter M&Ms in particular? They're so good.
They are really good.
They're so satisfying. I could really overdose on these.
Oh yeah, I almost found I have definitely overeaten them and felt really full after eating more than maybe if I ate 2 of those packs that you have, I would really feel full.
Do you want to know why I just grabbed? I know we have to wrap this up because we're out of time for this particular episode, y'all. I don't know why I'm saying y'all after everything. I'm doing that. I'm going with it. So I had some blood work done today. I'm having surgery in like a month or so. or a little before a month. So I'm having the blood work done. It's all like pre-op regular stuff that you have to do to make sure, you're healthy enough to, so they draw blood, they do all this stuff. So I had to fast the night before, and sometimes my blood sugar is elevated, not like diabetic or anything like that, but just I've always had higher blood sugar on the higher side. So when I go to the doctor, your blood sugar is a little high, and then I'll go back the next time. Oh, it's normal. What's going on? So it can fluctuate. So I was very careful before my blood work today. Yesterday, I was like, I'm not going to eat anything super sweet. I don't want the doctor to say what's going on with your blood sugar. As soon as I was done, I just took off like the little thing, the tourniquet they put on your arm for the, when you draw blood.
Yeah.
And I was like, sugar! I started popping it. No blood work for me for the rest of the weekend. So I was having these as my little reward. Like, yeah, I show you. I might have resisted last night, but I'm not resisting today. Not today. So yeah, that was sort of the impetus for me grabbing this bag and being naughty and doing it while we're on the show. So
blood sugar is important. I'm glad you did. Yeah.
Thank you. So, I mean, obviously, we talk about this all the time. We would love to hear your thoughts about, are there any games that you guys play out there with younger gamers, and what sort of has worked for you? What games have worked for you in that arena? And also, what do you love about going to board game, not conferences, because that's work. Conventions, those are fun. For board game conventions, what do you love about going? Will you be at PAX Unplugged this weekend? I will be. If you happen to see me and I'm not stuffing my face with M&Ms and going to spray chocolate on you, say hello. I'd love to talk to you. But yeah, Jamey, thank you for doing this. I'm glad you were safe. I'm glad you're back. I think we still have to do a couple of backup, maybe another 1 or 2 backup episodes just for that'll get us through the year, because again, we know it's holiday time. We know everyone's not going to be available. So we may have to be doing more of this. I hope you're okay with that.
I look forward to it.
I do too.
There.
All right, man. All right. Have a great weekend, everyone. And goodbye, y'all.
Goodbye.